Some people believe that financial enslavement began with the creation of the Federal Reserve. Others might think that the removal of the gold standard was the final nail in the coffin. More people still look ahead to the encroaching inevitability of a fully digitized, cashless, one-world economic system as the last shoe to drop in this gradual agenda of monetary authoritarianism. But the strange thing to me is that even while I am forced to acknowledge the realities of all those layers, all those stages, it is the underlying concept of money itself that is increasingly both intriguing and disquieting. Everything that falls under this hazy canopy of what we refer to as market forces. Because it's hard to escape the realization, upon deeper reflection, that as much as we might decry the debt-based construct of fiat currency, lifeblood of the central banking behemoth, and revile how fractional reserve lending effectively creates, quote, money out of nothing, the unsettling fact is that we all do this. We all help create money out of nothing. Everyone is familiar with the principle of supply and demand, but yet it is the supply side that all too often receives the majority of the attention when economic ecosystems are analyzed. The goods and services, the gold and silver, the innovative technologies, the raw materials. But when you really think about it, after we have our most basic human needs met, our food and clothing and shelter, everything else is essentially frosting. The vast majority of what we now work for, pay for, get an education for, is really but a gauntlet of modern hoops that must be jumped through just to even have access to the goods which meet those true basic needs. The system which demands participation in order to do anything, the system whereby the all-encompassing plague of, quote, market demand ceaselessly works to quantify every facet of human desire, thought, action, apprehension, and hope into something that can be traded back and forth. Because this is really all that's at the core, the humanistic ethics of trade, a never-ending mutually agreed-upon process of exchange, an extrapolation of the most basic tribal expressions of interreliance within a group, but now expanded to such bloated and unprecedented lengths that it almost defies belief. We all participate. We all help create money out of nothing. The specific monetary vehicle that is used is almost irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. Because no matter what fiscal mechanism we might view as more favorable, be it dollars or cryptos or gold bullion, it is nevertheless the application of our collective assignment of value that itself propels it all. Regardless of the specific channel through which that assigned value happens to be flowing. If the overarching equation dictates that supply is inseparable from demand, and demand is indeed a nebulous thing, having a bedrock of true human need, covered by an ocean of countless vanities, all of which are bought and sold in the same murky marketplace, then what ensues is a world whereby some, quote, wealth is created by actual labor, actual goods, and so much more is created effectively instantaneously through contractual consent, whether done formally or informally. And so I increasingly wonder if the true linchpin of economic manipulation of the masses isn't even ultimately defined by the heresies of Wall Street or the Federal Reserve or the World Bank or the Rothschilds or all the usual suspects, vile as they all might be, but if it's actually the manipulated perception of value in the first place that allows all those heinous institutions to have ever thrived in the first place. It is the perception of value that sculpts the realm of, quote, demand, after all. So-called market forces are only a monetized expression of what is collectively allowed to be regarded as either eligible for commerce or too sacred to be commodified. Today, sex is a currency, though of course this should not be, not just in the most tangible forms of things like prostitution and sex trafficking, but in the societal mind, in the imagination, in the sexualization of an entire internet-connected world culture. the utter prostitution of the concept of sexuality itself, the reduction of something meant to be sacred into something with a price index. And so when lines are never drawn, and the ravenous pressures of market forces are never halted, never given a line upon which they are not allowed to cross, then the result is simply the annihilation of sacredness altogether. Anything and everything can have, quote, value. Any abstract idea, any patented design, any copyrighted name or sentence or picture or sequence of pictures and sound, any contract that arbitrarily charges fees, any interest on any loan, any contrived investment product, any stock or bond or ICO, any measure of military threat, any metric of political power, any gauge of cultural influence, any meter of fame. The exchange rates on all this and more never stop calculating, as we all help create money out of nothing.